My name is Armaiti May. I'm the president of this organization, Vegan Toastmasters, which is one of over 14,000 chapters worldwide that are part of Toastmasters International. This is a public speaking organization that helps people become better public speakers. And here at Vegan Toastmasters, we're interested in helping those that want to help animals become better public speakers, as well as our health and, of course, the environment. So we're going to go around and just introduce our officers and members, so people who are guests have an idea of who to go to perhaps at the end of the meeting if you decide that this is something that might be for you. It's really a great organization that has a lot of applications in real life situations, whether it be your career, talking to friends and family about why you're on a plant-based diet, and going to city council meetings, a lot of different applications. So I guess we can start over with our Vice President of Membership, Chad.
Hi, I'm Chad. I am the VP of Membership. I brought these folders that have basically a Toastmasters magazine, a couple of brochures, and a membership application. If anybody's interested in these, I'll have these folders over here available. And yeah, I'm Chad. I've been in Vegan Toastmasters for a few years, and it's great to be here.
Thank you. Skip.
Hello, I'm Skip Wagner, and I am what they call the VP of Education. We're a relatively informal group, so I'm not, in full disclosure, I don't necessarily do all these things very thoroughly, but the VP of Education is responsible for scheduling the agenda, scheduling the speeches, keeping track of the different awards and statures that people get in the Toastmasters system, and keeping track of the contests and the mentoring program, and also participating in the executive committee of the others. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Daniela, the Sergeant at Arms, and my job is to ensure the meeting goes on time, or it starts on time, ends on time. I bring the box full of supplies and help anybody with any questions. And I'm really glad that I joined. It's a very enjoyable group, and I've grown as a person. Thank you. I'm Dave. I'm the treasurer. I started the group back in 2003. It's good to see a full group of people, so I'll keep you on going. If you're interested in joining the group, then see Chad and myself, two tall guys, and we will have membership application. We will discuss how to join. My name is David. I have the computer here. I'm not looking at my Facebook or Snapchat feed here. I am the secretary, so I'll be taking notes during the meeting. I've been a part of Vegan Toastmasters for about 5 years. Welcome, everyone.
Daniela is our VP of Public Relations, and she is outside greeting guests who may be straggling in late. She should be joining us in
Very appropriate.
a little while. Would any of our members like to introduce themselves and say a few words? Kim.
I'm Kim, and I'm kind of a new member, although I'm a long-term visitor or guest, and I want to let you guys all know you can come as a guest, and you never have to speak, so don't feel like you have to get up there. A lot of people don't want to come because they're afraid they're going to be made to speak. You do not have to, and so I'm glad I finally joined.
We're glad you did too. Thank you. Susanna.
My name is Susanna May. I am a performance coach, and I also guide people how to transition to a vegan, plant-based nutrition. I've been a member of this club maybe for 2 years, maybe a little bit longer. I really love it. And even though maybe you will notice something today, but you will learn how to speak and not to speak. And now, thanks to being here in the club, if I listen to any interview or speech on the TV, and I hear the words they shouldn't be saying, like, you know, I would never pay attention to that before, and it made me aware how beautifully we can use the words to express ourselves. And if you want to come here and just listen and learn just from listening, you are very welcome. And I think even going once will benefit you a lot. And I think you want to come back probably because it's very useful to be here.
Sarah.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah, and I recently joined Vegan Toastmasters. However, I was a guest previously many times, and I just wanted to say it's a great turnout, and really happy that you guys came today and considered joining. It's a great group because we are vegan, and our values and our core values are the same, so we're like-minded people and our goals, and that's just really important, especially if you want to continue on this path of helping save the animals, which is what we do. Thanks.
Thank you. Ellie.
Well, next to the founders, and Armaiti, I think I've got a vegan Toastmaster going on. And I'm not an expert speaker yet, but I think I'm much improved. I'll say it behind me that, because at least I can hear him. Okay, I'm Ellie, I'm the old one. And I'd just like to welcome everyone here and say it's been a great experience for me. I hope you can hear me, because there's one thing I need to work on to speak louder, more clearly, and I'm still working on it, but I'm getting there. Thank you.
Talia.
My name's Daniela. I've been 2.5 years. Came here to learn, speak better, and to become better educated in veganism and animal rights. It's been a marginally better speaker than I was 2.5 years ago.
And we have a few people coming in. We're just doing introductions, so feel free to take a seat. Oh, hello, Alexis. So I'm also Toastmaster for today, and it's my job to come up with a theme for the meeting. And my theme is progress, not perfection. And that centers around the concept that being vegan is a transition for a lot of people. It's not the end game necessarily. It is a way to minimize suffering. It is a way to improve your health. It is certainly a way to help the planet. But none of us are perfect. And we're all just doing the best we can to be better people. So we welcome you regardless of whether you're vegan, vegetarian, on the way in your plant-based journey. We're all here to become better speakers. So that's my theme for the day. And with that, I'd like to go and introduce our functionaries, who are the people that kind of keep track of different elements of the meeting. And I'll start with Chad, who is our grammarian.
I will be just keeping track of if anybody uses any grammar that is, could be better, could be improved upon, or is questionable, and also introducing the word of the day. So, in all of these meetings, we have a word of the day where if somebody uses the word, it's, then people kind of give them a sort of a drum roll, yeah, for using it. But since this is an open house, it's such a big meeting, I wanted to make the word pretty easy for people to use. So I chose the word detriment, which means loss, damage, disadvantage, or injury. Pretty easy word to use, right?
Yes. Do you have a sentence as an example?
I eat a hamburger at the detriment to my health. Right? Well, except that I would never do that, but still. Theoretically, I would eat a hamburger to the detriment of my health, unless it's a veggie burger.
Before you became a vegan.
Yeah, before I became a vegan, yeah, exactly.
Right.
20 years ago, right?
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
Our timer is Dave Rutan.
Yes, hello everyone. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. So, as in many of the things we do in our real life, like when you go to city council meetings, you get timed on how long you speak for, and you only get a certain amount of time. The red light goes on, and you just sit down and be quiet, basically. So same thing here at Toastmasters. We'll time all these table topics, which are going to be coming up shortly, and which everyone is invited to participate in. These table topics are going to be timed 1 to 2 minutes. You will see this thing right here on the timer. So I will turn this thing on, and 1 minute it'll turn green, 1/2 minutes it'll turn yellow, and 2 minutes it'll turn red. When you see red, try to finish up speaking in 30 seconds. I'll be keeping track of all the time. We do this as sort of practice to get our thoughts in order in a short amount of time, and also give other people a chance to speak also.
Great, thank you. Next we have our off-counter, who is Skip.
Hello, I'm the odd counter, and that is the person that takes note of whenever someone uses a filler word. Like, or sometimes repeats a word. What I will do when I hear one of those is I will do this, which might sound very cruel, but it really isn't, because for the speaker, I could only say from my own experience, I had no idea that I was using all those filler words until I heard this, and then it was amazing. It sort of triggered an awareness when I speak, and I use them much less frequently now. So, and then at the end of the meeting, when the functionaries give their reports, I'll report on how many of these filler words the different speakers used. Thank you.
And Daniela, would you like to introduce yourself, since I know you were busy introducing or greeting guests as they arrive?
Hi everyone, my name is Daniela Castillo. I am another vegan veterinarian and I'm the VP of Public Relations. And thank you for coming.
Oh, Taylor, yes, I almost forgot. I'm sorry. Yeah, Taylor's a new member.
Hello, my name is Taylor Narabemi. I am a 4.5-year veteran of Toastmasters and of being vegan. My wife and I are vegan entrepreneurs, and we moved back to the area, so we're very grateful that we were able to participate in this vegan Toastmasters. And I think you will enjoy the festivities this evening.
And you move on.
Okay, great. So now I'm introducing our table topics master, who is none other than David Cates, and he'll be leading our table topics session.
So the table topics are often current events questions, questions that we hope will spur you to get up. So don't let your fear of speaking in public be a detriment. We have a table for those. Don't let it be a detriment to your confidence in getting up and making your voice heard. The table topics are 1 to 2 minutes. And don't get too concerned about, oh, I can't speak enough, or I'm going to speak for too long. We won't criticize you, or there's no cane or anything like that to get you off stage. But we want to hear your voice, and I think that's really important for the vegan community, for us to express ourselves, and so people know that we are here and we have something really important to say. We've decided to make the table topics in line with the theme of our meeting, which is progress, not perfection. And when you come up, I'm going to shake your hand, I'll go off to the side, and then when you're done, I'm going to shake your hand again. It's Toastmasters' custom to not leave the front area of the lectern. We have kind of an imaginary lectern today, but we don't want to leave it empty, because if it's empty, that means the meeting is over and people will just get up and have this wonderful food and they'll think the meeting is over. So we want to make sure that we have someone at the front of the room to control the meeting. The first question. Many of us have had experience with family members or close friends being dismissive, disrespectful, or sometimes even hostile toward us, toward our decision to become vegan. In what successful ways have you dealt with this, so as not to compromise your beliefs while still sustaining a happy, close, and hopefully resentful-free relationship with that person? How do you deal with that conflict? You are a terrible vegan. Yes.
I took this question because I served 7 years in the military, so I am a veteran and a vegan, and you can imagine how challenging that is. The number one thing that I learned to do is something I learned from a lot of different peacemakers, such as Gandhi and Mandela, and that is peaceful action. No matter how strong someone is opposed to you being vegan or strongly against you eating vegan and plant-based, it is your job as a vegan, I think, to present yourself in a peaceful manner. That's the only way that I see people will really ever embrace being plant-based, being vegan, and living that way 100%. And that is ultimately the goal of our community, is to promote veganism to the point where it's a majority of the people in our culture. So with that, I leave you with the fact that if you're peaceful and you're vegan, and with every meal you eat, with everything you do, you act as a vegan in a peaceful manner, people will notice it, and no matter how strongly they say, oh, how can you eat that? Where's the meat? How can you have a hamburger that's not from a cow? Do it with your actions. Do it peacefully. Continue to do it until you're gone from this planet.
Is there anyone else who would like to respond to that question? How do you deal with conflict? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Following Taylor is kind of going to be difficult, but I'll try. I do animal rights activist. Sometimes a lot of vegans don't want to do that, but that's okay. I really enjoy going and doing disruptions, but we do it peacefully, where people will be in our face saying, I love bacon, I love meat, get a job, oh, your shoes are leather. You get a whole lot of pushback. And we were just at a barbecue fest in Pomona yesterday, and we did a disruption. And for those of you that don't know what a disruption is, it's not detrimental or does not cause detriment. It brings awareness to those that are eating flesh of another sentient being. And we believe, the group that I was with yesterday, and I'm not affiliated with any group, but I joined a group yesterday in Pomona to do a disruption of a barbecue fest. We went in there peacefully though, and we did some chants, and we had a lot of pushback, but we still were peaceful. Some guy grabbed my signs and threw them to the ground, and just picked them back up, and his girlfriend scolded him because he was a detriment to my freshly cleaned nails. Anyway, in closing, I believe what Taylor says is true. We have to lead by example. The most important thing is unity creates community. And we heard that yesterday in our activist meeting, our community activist meeting that we had with a whole bunch of vegans. So whether you're an activist and you're just talking to people in general that are asking you questions, or you're going in like some of us and disrupting, or you're protesting, you still want to have that, peacefulness about you, and no matter what they're throwing at you, you just, keep it calm and lead by example, and everything will work out okay. It's better to do it that way. I've seen other sides of it, and I've also been on the other side where I've been aggressive to people that eat animals or wear animals or use animals for any reason. So I knew that was not the way to act, but sometimes you just have to learn. So that's my answer to the question. Hopefully that made sense.
Sure. Yes. Thank you.
How do I handle the conflict? I actually don't handle it really well because I'm still single. It just doesn't work for me. But I figured out a new way how to do this. When I became vegan, I was so excited. And when I'm excited, I'm a little pushy and a little feisty. And I wanted everybody to become vegan because it's really good. And if you ate the burger, it's like, oh my God, you eat that, you will get heart attack and heart disease and cancer. And I was giving them speeches and posting on Facebook, and it didn't really work so well. And I also noticed if I post a picture of myself doing something physical, I get 200 likes here and there. If I post something educational about vegan nutrition, it's like 1 or 2. I don't even read that stuff. I changed the strategy. I became super fit, super healthy. I'm learning difficult physical things, handstands and gymnastic things, and I'm 52 years old and I'm too old to do that stuff. But I don't believe that. So now I'm posting all these cool physical things that I'm doing, and people become interested. How is that possible that you can do this? How can you train every day? You don't rest? And I take the opportunity peacefully, how Taylor said, educate them. That's how I eat. It's very anti-inflammatory. I recover really well. It gives me a lot of energy. I feel great. I don't age and all that. And I'm noticing people are more willing to accept that. And I noticed also that if people start eating more plant-based, they are still not vegans. They eventually feel better. They start caring about the animals a little bit more. They start caring about the planet. Eventually, they turn into vegans. So I'm leading by example, and I'm trying to be healthy and fit and turn one vegan into another and third and fourth, and eventually everybody.
Well, I only gave up meat in 2010, so I remember what it's like to eat meat. So when I'm interacting with someone who's a hardcore meat eater, I sort of put myself in their place, and what is this person thinking? And I know what they're thinking because it's a new concept to them. But what I do say is, I say, would you be willing to? Is there any type of meat you could do without? Of all the different types, and they think a little bit, and I say, well, how about hot dogs? Could you do without hot dogs, or could you do without bacon? See, I pick the most extremely unhealthy types of meat, and I point out to them, well, if you can just stop eating bacon, sausage, or hot dogs, pastrami, because those are like really going to kill you, and it's basically that stimulates the conversation, and it's not a hostile conversation. It's sort of coming from empathy and concern for how they feel. So that's a good way to approach them, is to try to understand their point of view and where they're coming from when you communicate with them. Thank you.
Conflict that I'm Can you speak up a little? Oh yes, thank you. There's a conflict that I'm a little emotional about it right now. Actually, on my Facebook page, there's someone who has a different opinion than myself, who's a very committed vegan, but who thinks that cats need to have flesh. Clearly, I don't think that way. But I'm not getting into a discussion about whether cats need flesh or not. But I said it up. Again, I wanted to bring up that this really pertains to today's topic, that it's progress and not perfection. We all need to remember that none of us is perfect, that there is no such thing as a perfect vegan, that even if you're breathing air, you are killing small little microorganisms. So, depending how far you want to take it, you might want to be that perfect vegan. And along the lines of what Taylor actually said, that we have to have peaceful actions, it's to our detriment if we're not peaceful.
I do kung fu, and one of the things that, one of the principles of that is that I train to fight so I don't have to fight. And along those same lines, again, it's to my detriment, what's happening on my Facebook page is that this person, because I responded to her comments, which I could have left alone, but I have this theory with her about whether cats actually do eat flesh. But I didn't leave alone. I don't think that was really the point, but someone else jumped in and it is now turning into a whole back and forth of name calling, insults, and that is not helpful. And that's what I need. We have to be peaceful. None of us are perfect. And let's all just remember, we're here to help the animals, and we don't help the animals if we are fighting with each other. Thank you.
My name is Alexis. I've been a vegan for 20 and a half years. So the interesting thing is that the conflicts that I've seen, it's very little, not that much. It's usually with some vegans who just became vegans. And I've been saying it for a long time, that is to our detriment if we don't show love to people. So it's because condemnational attitude, I always kept saying in these meetings, condemnational attitude is detrimental to us attracting other people, and it really doesn't do us any good. But it was so funny. So I've been a vegan for 20 and a half years. Unfortunately, I got very sick, so I'm very grateful that I'm vegan, because if I wasn't vegan, I don't even know what would have happened. Some of my organs shut down, and I'm really grateful that I'm vegan. So I'm working on that and healing, like mostly fruitarian diet and things like that. And so what happened was that a year ago, somebody became my Facebook friend who had been a vegan for 1 year. And she started emailing me and berating me of why you don't have enough vegan posts on you. So I'm the president of a peace organization. So we've already decided I'm not gonna get that very political. I'm not gonna, try to be didactic for other people and tell them how to live. But I do always cook vegan food for my guests, and it's the love that I show and the loving approach that attracted all my meat eater friends to try veganism. But traumatic scenes like yelling at people in the market or things of that nature, and me as a psychologist, I know that it really did harm to people, and they shut down and they didn't want to listen to me. So just my humble little 2 cents that it really helped when I encouraged my friends to always do this with love. And because if we want to show them about veganism, they're going to watch our actions. St. Francis said, preach what gospel, but you can use it for veganism. Preach the gospel at all times, and if necessary, use words. So for veganism, I really think our loving actions and our responsible, sustainable approach to life is what's going to attract people. That's it. My humble 2 cents.
Hello. So, I was thinking, wow, I really don't have a standardized sort of speech that I give to people around me, family or friends. And I was all concerned, like, how come I don't have my act together? I don't know what to say about the most important thing in my life, how I feel about animals, people, the planet, the environment. And I don't have a patent-like speech that I give to folks. And I think my personality, is evolving, and I have, been more attracted to the style of, I engage with somebody on a one-on-one basis. I really have to assess the situation, where I'm at, what I'm wearing, or who I'm with, in the environment to come up with the best way to communicate. I work in a very conservative, profession where I probably can't just go out and vegan, animal, don't eat this and don't eat that, and I feel like that might impinge on my, personality, my credibility. So I have to engage in very specific ways to talk to people in different environments, and I think that's probably how I will pursue this, depending upon who. And some people I'm more open and more familiar with, I will be more open about my passion about this. For folks who are new or folks who are in the family who are absolutely don't want to hear about this, I just have to come up, and I'm constantly struggling to find ways that are more open and sort of lighthearted and get them engaging, and then start talking more about the real feelings I have behind it and the reasons why and this and so forth. I do a lot of vegan outreach in Santa Monica where I face the public and folks, and I am comfortable with that, so I found a way to communicate all this. And passerbys and strangers, you can tell, we can, I guess, practice more on how to tell by a person, how their responses, their look on their face, their body language, and then gauge on how you should communicate with them. So that has hopefully helped me communicate all this in a more effective way to people who I know or strangers and everybody around me. All right, thank you.
All right, well, thank you to everyone who participated and listened. Oh, you want to do another topic?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. So what food did you have the hardest time giving up before going vegan, and how did you manage to quit it? What was that hard one for you? Was it ice cream? Was it cheese? Was it pizza?
Can guess what's the name of this?
Oh, we love to have guests. Yes, we definitely encourage guests. So don't let any fear be a detriment to getting up, communicating your message. No one had any problems. I'm so glad. Yes.
Easy.
Please.
Hi, my name is Amy. This is my first vegan Toastmaster meeting. I'm so happy to be here and see you. Thank you. Hi, Skip. I lost my train of thought. I have been vegetarian since 1990 after reading John Robbins' book. And dairy, just dairy in general, was really hard for me to give up. And what did it for me, I had been involved with a very tight-knit group of people who communicated by email, not vegetarians or vegans, but just from another group I was involved with. And we would, quote unquote, generate our day with each other and say, this is what I'm up to. And just, it was a tight-knit support group, and we had been together for like 8 years, every day, Monday through Friday, and that was quite an accomplishment. One day, one of the members, who was actually my favorite other member, said something about the Catholic Church, I think NAMBLA, which is a pedophile group, and PETA in the same vein. And I lightheartedly, I said, hey, wait a minute, back off. And it was like lighthearted, and towards the end of the day, I just happened to chance upon a PETA thing, which was like a real muscle-bound guy. I don't even remember what it was advertising, but at the end of the day, after there'd been this niggling between the members, back and forth, none of them were vegetarian, I posted that. I know I'm going too long. Anyway, one took offense, and the other members of the group basically booted me out of the group. Choose PETA or us. Apologize to this woman that you offended. And I said, okay, this is where the rubber hits the road, do I? So, and at that point I said, hey, you know, I'm being a hypocrite. Being so devoted to PETA, but not being vegan. So that was in October of 2014. And after that, I really made a very much more concerted effort to give up the dairy. I'm not perfect, but that's what helped me, that unpleasant event.
All right, anyone else? Anyone else have some issues along the way? Yeah, so yeah.
Well, when I first met my husband, I was vegetarian and he was vegan. And so and the thing that really attracted me to him was that he was vegan, one of the things, but because I always was really interested in it. And so after we got married, he let me keep certain things in the house, certain foods that weren't vegan, but were vegetarian, like eggs and dairy. And I really like cheese and ice cream and coffee creamer and all those things. And it was very hard. And then I was sitting around the house one day and I saw his book, John Robbins' book, from America. I think everybody who became vegan at a certain time probably read that book at one point or another. But I read that book and I had heard about the cruelty done to dairy cows and chickens and the baby chicks and all that, but it really brought it home to me. And I hadn't even seen, I think it was in an era a little bit before a lot of like Earthlings and all those types of graphic movies had come out, or maybe I just hadn't seen them. But it was right around 1999, 2000, so maybe some of them had come out. And so just reading about the cruelty that's perpetrated on those animals made me really think about it. And then I went to Veg Fest, which was World Fest at the time, in the San Fernando Valley, and we heard T. Colin Campbell speak about dairy and caseins and how he, based on his research, in the China study, which wasn't even a book at the time, it was just like a little pamphlet or something, they led to the development of cancer. And so between that and the cruelty perpetrated on the animals traditionally used to produce dairy, I decided just to give it up. And it didn't hurt that at the time there were lots of vegan substitutes coming out that were, that took the place of those things. I eventually got off those too for other reasons, but so that was my main thing, dairy. Dairy was important. Thank you.
All right, now I'm going to call up Armaiti, who's going to introduce our guest speaker.
Participating in the table topics, always fun. Our guest speaker, Chef AJ, is an amazing culinary instructor, chef, and has been a vegan for close to 40 years now, which is really fantastic. She's appeared as a guest on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, as well as The Late Show with David Letterman. She also is the author of the book Unprocessed, How to Achieve Vibrant Health and Your Ideal Weight. So please help me welcome Chef AJ.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being vegan or being almost vegan, for all you guys do for animals. I appreciate it. And as Armaiti said, September 1st of this year, it will be my 40 vegan year anniversary. Vegan before it was cool to be vegan. I was vegan before they had tofu cuties, so that's how old I am. Almost 60. So, I am the author of a book, Unprocessed, and I'm going to be doing 4 of my most popular recipes from the book. So we're going to start with one of my favorites. It's called nutrient-rich black bean soup. And I'm doing the exact recipe as is in the book, but I'm cutting it in half. And the reason is because I didn't know what the cooking setup was going to be like here. So instead of doing it on a pot and stove, I'm doing it in an electric pressure cooker. Does anybody have an Instant Pot? All right, so the rest of you need to get one because it's $50 off if you use my name, AJ. The reason is when you're vegan as long as me, what you hear next to where do you get your protein is, well, I would eat healthy if I only had enough time and enough money. Well, with a pressure cooker, you have both, and I'm going to show you how. So this recipe has almost 5 pounds of vegetables in it. It's a black bean soup, but we're going to hide the vegetables in it. What I love about this recipe and all my recipes, they're just like me, fast, cheap, and easy, because I just don't have time to cut anything up. So I put everything in whole. So here's a 1 pound organic sweet potato. Put it in. How hard is that? All that money I wasted on culinary school, a red onion. Put it in. You know why? Because I say chopping is for suckers. A pound of organic criminy mushrooms. Put it in. Pound of corn, roasted. Put it in. 3 cans of black beans. I am using organic, salt-free. By the way, all my food is what we call SOS-free, sugar-free, oil-free, salt-free. It's also gluten-free, and I'll explain why I cook that way in a moment. But if you have a problem using cans, by the way, these are BPA-free, you can get beans in aseptic boxes now that are salt-free and organic, and you can cook them yourself, because if you have a pressure cooker, you can cook them in about 5 minutes, and they're about 49 cents a pound. So I'm putting in 3 cans. Each can is 1.5 cups of beans. Even beans are kind of cool because they actually have something in it called kombu, which is a sea vegetable for those that get indigestion or gas or bloating from beans. That actually increases their digestibility. So 3 cans is the equivalent of 4.5 cups. I'm adding a pound of organic greens.
What type of greens?
I just picked the blue curled kale, but you could use spinach, you could use any greens you want. Just know that whatever the question, kale is usually the answer. 3-ounce bag of salt-free, oil-free, sun-dried tomatoes. When you don't use salt, things like this really help the flavor in your cooking. And my spices, which are oregano, cumin, chipotle powder, and smoked paprika, my favorite spice. Put it in. Close the top. Oh, by the way, there's 6 cups of water in there already. This is a half a recipe. It'll make about 16 cups. So there's a bunch of buttons on the pressure cooker, and I don't really know what they're for. Because one would have had to read the book for that, and I just don't. It's not what I do. So I know one button, and it's called manual. And I'm upside down, so where is it? Manual. There it is. And so I'm going to let it go for 10 minutes. Whoops, wrong way. Plus or minus. And that's it. Set it, forget it. Now, some people are afraid of a pressure cooker because they've heard stories that their pressure cookers that belong to their grandmothers have exploded. That would be a real detriment to the entire house if that happened. These are very safe, these electric pressure cookers. And what's much better, in my opinion, about the electric pressure cooker is you can set it, forget it. So I have a dog, and when I get home, I want to make dinner, I throw everything in, push the button, take her for an hour walk, I come back, and then it turns itself into the slow cook function. So these are great, and again, if you go to the website of instantpot.com and put in my initials, not the chef, but just AJ, $50 off. This is the 8-quart model. I recommend the bigger one so that you can make more food. If you already have one, you don't necessarily have to get the 8-quart, but this can cook about 4 jumbo artichokes at once in about 5 minutes. So these things are great. And if you want to see me use it, I have a television show called Healthy Living with Chef AJ, and there's 13 episodes with guests like Colin Campbell, Dr. Esselstyn, and I use the pressure cooker in every episode. Now, it's not going to take 10 minutes from this moment for the soup to be ready, because it still has to come up to pressure, which means the internal combustion has to reach 249 degrees Fahrenheit. Boiling is about 212 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. But even if it took 30 minutes, who cares? Because I didn't really have to do anything but just open a bunch of stuff and throw it in. Now, when it's done, I'm going to blend it with this tool called an immersion blender. You can certainly use a Vitamix or any blender if you wanted, but this is really so much easier if you ask me, and I will show you how when it's done. All right, so the next recipe is a quinoa salad with pistachios, currants, and pomegranate seeds. So this is 1 pound of quinoa, organic quinoa, that I've cooked in advance and I cooled it already. I chilled it. It took 1 minute to cook in the pressure cooker. This thing is awesome for cooking grains. As a matter of fact, your pressure cooker will replace about 7 different appliances because it's not only a pressure cooker, it's also a slow cooker if you want it to be. It has a saute function, so you can saute even without oil. It's a yogurt maker. It's 3 other things. And it's a rice cooker, thank you, Andrea. It's 2 other things, which I... Steamer, steak, you had a sterilizer, and I don't know what the 7th function is because I didn't read the book. So, yeah, so I'm using the tricolor quinoa just because I think it looks prettier, but you could use red quinoa, black quinoa, white quinoa. Quinoa is technically a seed. We consider it a whole grain, but it actually is a seed. And for people that are worried about where to get their protein on a vegan diet, you know, if I had a nickel for every time in the last 40 years somebody asked me where I would get my protein, I honestly could retire now. I've gotten to the point where now when they ask me that, I just say human flesh. You know, from annoying people like you. That's been my answer lately because I'm just so tired of it. Really what I say is you can't be protein deficient unless you're calorie deficient. There hasn't been a single case of porkyosha in the United States unless the child has been abused or it's just so, don't you? You know, it's so hard. You new vegans, you're lucky. You have your whole vegan life ahead of you. I'm just this is what I'm going to be. I'm going to become John McDougal. I'm going to be the cranky vegan asshole. When I do it. I'm almost already there. So, again, believe it or not, my husband is like the only person I'm not supposed to say like, and you didn't buzz me.
No, you are.
That's okay. Because I am the best odd counter because literally what I do is I hook it up to their genitalia and I give them a shot every time they say or and that works beautifully to get them to stop doing it. So my husband's allergic to quinoa. So if that was the case, you could use another grain. Why not? You could use millet. You could use rice. Anything you want. Just the idea is it's a hearty grain salad. So I've cooked this, I've cooled it, and now I'm going to add my secret salad dressing. Lime juice. That's it. And people taste this and they go, oh, what's the dressing? It's just juice, lime juice. Now, this is organic, and of course, it would probably be better to juice the limes yourself. I'm going to do half a bottle, which is 1 cup. And if you do juice them yourself, you can use the zest, especially if it's organic, because that imparts a lot of flavor. And we're going to put some fun stuff in this. So if you don't do nuts, you don't have to add these, but if you do, I'm adding 8 ounces of unsalted pistachio nuts. I'm adding 8 ounces of currants. Currants are like raisins, except they disperse better. They're a little bit sweeter, and I think they're nice in here. You could use any dried fruit, really. I've done it with raisins. I've done it with goji berries, cranberries, and even cherries. And one of the secrets in making food taste delicious in general, but without salt specifically, are fresh herbs. And in advance, I've cut up 8 ounces of fresh herbs. I'm using organic mint, Italian parsley, which I like a little bit better than the curly parsley, and scallions or green onions. And I'm putting this in. And now, this is what really makes it fun. I always smell my pomegranate seeds because every now and then, have you ever gotten a bad batch? I mean, they're not going to hurt you. It's like kombucha. It's just going to make you drunk because they actually ferment. So I've got 2 of the containers from Trader Joe's of pomegranate seeds. And what's great about pomegranate seeds is you can actually freeze these. So when they're not in season, you can have this to make this salad or enjoy. Sometimes you can even buy them already frozen at Costco. I should have measured, but I've done this so many times. And now mix it up using latex-free food service gloves. The reason is you never want to use latex gloves on food because you never know that one person does have a latex allergy. I like using gloves, and I reuse them. I don't do a one-time use. I'll wash them and reuse them because I can really get everything mixed up really well. I invented this salad. When I graduated culinary school in 2003, I started teaching at various Whole Foods, and they asked me for a Christmas class. Well, I'm Jewish, and I didn't know what to make. And so this was my Christmas recipe because the little red pomegranate seeds sort of look like Christmas lights to me, and the green herbs are green, and I just thought it was good. And you can see how easy. My recipes are all really easy. I actually have a few copies if anybody would like to purchase one. There's 109 recipes. and 108 of them are this easy. The only one that's a little bit more complicated is one of my best recipes, the disappearing lasagna, but even that, if you did it in stages, it's not that bad. So this is basically ready. Now, if you were making this like for a potluck, you could pretty much assemble most of the ingredients the night before, but you don't want to add your nuts until right before serving because, you know, nobody likes soggy nuts, guys, right? So there we go. And it's a real pretty salad to make. And I joke that the dressing is just lime juice because people will say, what's the dressing? Because it's really good. Because the truth is you don't need sugar, you don't need oil, you don't need salt, you don't need flour to make delicious food. And hopefully, when I'm done with the recipes, I'll have time to talk a little bit about why I adopted that extreme version of the vegan diet. So this is ready to go, so we can serve this whenever we are ready. So, it's my first completed recipe. Okay. So now, I'm going to make the salsa from my book on process. And yesterday I had a Tupperware party. And so that means the party's open. If anybody wants to buy anything, I have a catalog. I'm not trying to sell you stuff because I'm donating all the proceeds. But this machine is the coolest thing, especially if, like me, you have a really hard time cutting onions because they make you cry or you just don't have good knife skills. So I'm making the salsa. And you know I got my can opener because, here it is. So I'm only showing you two of their tools because these are my absolute favorite tools. So I used to be a cooking instructor at the Braille Institute on Vermont, teaching the blind people how to cook vegan. Does anybody know why most people go blind? Almost all people go blind? Right, because of type 2 diabetes, which is not only preventable with the proper version of the vegan diet, but also reversible. Well, I first heard about these can openers there because obviously blind people can't see. And if you've ever used a can opener, whether it's an electric can opener, a good one, or a regular can opener, you know the edges are really jaggedy. And since we're vegan and care about animals, the last thing you want to do is throw a jaggedy edged can in the trash because some poor possum or dog or cat takes it and cuts their teeth, much to their detriment. I'm going to see how many times I can use that word, much to your detriment, while I'm here. Well, the good thing about the Tupperware can opener, where is this? I'm just getting used to it, I just got it, is that when you cut it open, see now most cans cut into the can. Well, what if like a mouse at the store pooped on the can? There could be debris or dirt on the can. That will get into the thing in your can if you use a regular can opener. But with this can opener, it doesn't cut into the metal. It just lifts it up. And so instead of a sharp thing, look at this. And really, I really did it mostly for the animals because I live near a park and I was seeing animals, you know, licking in cans. So please, even if you don't get it in Tupperware, consider getting one of these can openers that doesn't give you a sharp blade. All right, but this is my absolute favorite machine. And this comes in the big one and it comes with a little one. So sometimes you just need a little bit of onion, a little bit of garlic, and it's like you don't want to get out your food processor, and it's just so much easier. So we're going to make the salsa.
Is this the little one or big one?
This is the big one. The little one, which I didn't bring, is this big. And so this is really cool, really, really sharp. So what we're going to do is we're going to make salsa. And I got tired of buying salsa, mainly because I couldn't find one without salt anymore. And it gets expensive. I mean, at Trader Joe's, just a little jar is $3. And then you have the jar to deal with. It tastes better. It's cheaper when you make your own. So we're going to start with some onion. I'm using red onion. And again, you know, these recipes are more flexible. You put as much or as little as you want. But just look at how it cuts the onion without making me cry. All I do, that's it. And I've got the most perfectly chopped onion you've ever seen in 2 seconds. I love this.
Is that a Tupperware product?
Yeah, it is a Tupperware product. And my party will be open for a week, and I can give you the link. And I actually have one catalog if anybody's interested in looking at, if you want to be on the mailing list, it's right there. Now, I have some garlic. I brought it out. Because I didn't put the garlic in there. Made in here. Excuse me while I look for my garlic. Oh. Hey, wait, this might be it. This feels like it might be garlic. Sorry about that. Ah, there it is. Okay. So I didn't put the garlic in the soup, but also goes in the soup. Where did my scissors go? Just use my teeth. But you know, if there's there's any dentists here, they always say teeth are jewels, not tools. So, all right. So again, I'm just going to put a few clothes in here. And this should have gone in here, and that's okay. I can open it because it's not under pressure yet. I'm going to add my garlic. It's okay. Well, that's already starting to smell really good. Perfect. Okay, so now some cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, some people think it tastes like soap. Don't use it. Use parsley or don't use it at all. So I like it, so I'm putting a lot in. And then we'll pull this little, so jalapeno. Make sure that if you don't like it super hot, you take the seeds out. That's where all the heat is. Sometimes it's even hot with the seeds taken out. And then once again. And you're right, it is a good workout. Look at that. It's just so easy. And you can actually make sorbet in this, by the way. And I did my Tupperware party was on Facebook Live yesterday, so if you follow me on Facebook, you can still watch the video. We actually made sorbet. And now, I'm going to add 1 can of fire-roasted tomatoes from your blend. These are salt-free in a BPA-free can. You can certainly add fresh tomatoes, but then it's going to be a little bit more like pico de gallo than salsa. So, what I like to do is I actually like to put a little bit of salsa on top of this soup. And the quickest, easiest, freshest salsa you've ever seen. And then I love this. I love this little machine. All right. Recipe number 3, dessert. So we're going to make brownies, B-R-A-W-N-I-E-S. They're like brownies, but they're raw, hence brownie. 3 ingredients. Well, 4 if you use vanilla, which I didn't. Walnuts, dates, and cocoa powder. That's it. You don't need oil, you don't need sugar, you don't need what? Walnuts, dates, and cocoa powder. That's it. You don't need flour, sugar, oil, or salt to make a brownie or any dessert. As a matter of fact, I was the executive vegan pastry chef for 5 years at Sante Restaurant on La Brea. It's now closed, and I didn't use any of those ingredients in any of my dishes. So, I'm going to use this cute little pan. You can get it at Michael's or sometimes at Walmart. They're about $7. Because I made yours using it, because I was told to get 45, which I did, right here. And then I will be making more right now. But if you don't have a pan or don't want to get a pan, you could just press it into any pan, or you could just roll it into balls like truffles. So what we're going to do now is take our nuts, 2 cups of walnuts, unsalted and not roasted. And if you're going to eat nuts, these are probably the healthiest nuts you can eat, walnuts, because they're highest in what's known as the omega-3 fatty acid, those essential good fatty acids. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to process it in the food processor fitted with the S blade, so it looks like the letter S, into a flour-like consistency. I don't want to over-process it because then it will become nut butter. Just sort of like breadcrumbs, that's all you want. And now I'm going to add the cocoa powder. I'm using an unsweetened, this is Ghirardelli. You can use any brand you like, even Hershey's. I like the darker ones better. And we're going to use a half a cup. This stuff's so good. I already measured this in advance, so it's a half a cup exactly. Process it again, so it's incorporated. And then the third ingredient, which are 2 cups of pitted dates. I'm using the Deglet Nor because I like them because they're a little bit drier. I find the medjool are really, really sticky. But people that really like to eat dates by themselves generally like the medjool better. So now I'm going to process until a ball forms. So this might take about a minute or so. Demonstrating this recipe is you can see what I'm talking about when I say break point. So if I smush this together into a ball like this, it looks like it's done. But when I break it like this, not really, it crumbles too easily. So I'm looking for what I call the breakpoints. I need to process it just a little bit more.
Can you put it in a Vitamix too or something?
Food processors and blenders are not interchangeable. Blenders are for things that require liquid generally, even though you can make some thick sorbets and hummuses in it, not for, in my opinion, not for dessert recipes. I don't think it would work. I think it would be very difficult, but you can try it. And you can get a food processor for $49 at Walmart. Yeah. Right, because if you add vanilla or any liquid too soon, it'll ruin the integrity of the recipe. And now, I can tell by the way it feels. So now I'm making a ball again, but look what happens now. It stays. So this is perfect. And so you could just roll it into little balls. You could make this a pie crust and just slice some fresh fruit on top. Or you could just eat it with a spoon right there. So while I talk to you about why I eat the way I eat, I'm going to be pressing this into a pan. Now, what I like to do is, you don't have to do this, is I like to press just even a little piece of the walnut in each square if other people are eating it. Because I find that a lot of times if you go to potlucks, people see a brownie, and a lot of times people are allergic to nuts. And by putting at least a little piece of walnut in it, they visually know that it has nuts in the stain. Because sometimes even the little sign you put, it falls down, and I don't want people to have to go to the emergency room. So I do that. And this is fun if you have kids to get the kids involved. So now I'm going to tell you why I follow the vegan diet that I follow, because I didn't for the first 26 of the 40 years. You know, my mentor and boss at the True North Health Center, Dr. Alan Goldhammer, says that following the vegan diet will guarantee you get into heaven, but it won't determine how fast you get there. And having been vegan for 40 years, I cannot tell you how many vegans I know that currently have cancer, heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune disease, and how many have died from these diseases, despite the fact that they were vegan. So in 1977, when I became vegan at the University of Pennsylvania, I was there because I wanted to be a veterinarian, but instead I became a vegetarian. The reason is because the very first day on the job, we were required, because I was on scholarship, to work for a veterinarian. And this was September of 1977, and on the very first day, the man in the white lab coat, the doctor, handed me a tank of live salamanders. And he said, "Here." Oh yes, he goes, "I need you to cut their heads off." Oh, and I'm like, "Why?" You know? And he goes, "Because I'm doing protein lens regeneration experiments in the amphibian, and I only need their eyes." Now, I was 17 years old. I was one of these people, like, if somebody took me fishing, I just was very squeamish. And I really, truly wanted to be vegan earlier. And I had asked my mom, I didn't have the word in my vocabulary, vegan, but I knew I didn't want to eat animals. And the thing that's kind of good is we grew up Orthodox Jewish, which means there was already a lot of animals we weren't eating. So I never developed a taste for shellfish or shrimp or crab or lobster, oysters or clams. I never had them. I never had pepperoni pizza or a cheeseburger because we didn't mix milk with meat. I never tasted bacon. So how many animals was I really eating? I refused to eat fish because I couldn't imagine why you would put something in your mouth that smelled that bad. So yes, I ate some beef and I ate some chicken, but I only ate it if it was hid in the food. The way that I'm hiding the vegetables in the food, my mom used to hide the meat in the food because this was 1960 in Chicago. Neil Barnard may have been alive, but there was no PCRM or internet to tell us that we could follow a vegan diet to be healthy. And just like most mothers, she was concerned. But at least she didn't make me eat things with a bone. I would eat chili, and it probably had ground beef in it, or a stew, but nothing with a bone, nothing that actually looked like meat. So back to being at the University of Pennsylvania. So I cut off the head of one salamander because I didn't know how to say no. I mean, now I would just suit their ass, you know what I mean? But you're 17, you're on scholarship, and there's something about when people wear a white coat that you just do what you say, you know? Maybe we should all start wearing white coats as vegans and everyone will have to do what we say. I cut the head off one salamander, which I obviously regret to this day, and I literally started vomiting. They sent me to the Student Health Center, and in that moment, I became vegan. And I said to God that I would never eat, wear, or experiment on any of his animals again. which is a wonderful thing to do. Well, thank you. It's a wonderful thing to do, to be vegan for ethical reasons. But the problem is I cared so much about the animals, not realizing that I was also an animal and I wasn't taking care of my health. Because Coca-Cola and French fries are vegan. And just excluding animal products from your diet is not a healthy diet. And so I became what's known as a vegetarian. And for the next 26 years, I ballooned up to almost 200 pounds, which is 65 pounds more than I weigh now. I had myriad lifestyle diseases, including the beginning of colon cancer. I wasn't eating meat, but I wasn't eating any fruits and vegetables. So, I found a place. If I had found True North, I would have gone there sooner. I didn't find them until a little later. But I heard of a place called the Optimum Health Institute in San Diego, and there's also one in Texas. And I went there on July 6, 2003, with a Coke Slurpee in one hand and a Dr. Pepper in the other hand, both of which are vegan. Because up until the age of 43, when I started bleeding profusely from these precancerous polyps, I started every day with a 32-ounce Coke Slurpee with 8 pumps of vanilla syrup. I had a 48-ounce Dr. Pepper Big Gulp every day for lunch. And the reason I only had a 48-ounce soda is because back then that was the biggest size. By the way, you can get a 256-ounce soda now at 7-Eleven because they have that cup. And all day I ate candies, cakes, cookies, pies, and ice cream. But they were vegan, so they were healthy, right? No. You see, my husband used to say that his wife was the only vegan that didn't eat fruits and vegetables, and that the only greens I got were in a bag of Skittles. And he was right. So I went to the Optimum Health Institute, and it was the first time in my life that anyone, let alone a doctor or a nurse, said that what we eat has a profound effect on not only how we look and feel, but what diseases we get and what diseases we can actually reverse. And even though I wasn't eating animal products or dairy, I wasn't eating from the 4 food groups that I eat from today, which Dr. Barnard recommends on his PCRM Power Plate, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. I was eating sugar, flour, oil, and caffeine. Basically, I was eating dessert. And that's it. So, I went to this Optimum Health Institute, and there were people there with very, very serious diseases. People there with brain cancer, lupus, AIDS, that were actually getting better following a vegan diet without sugar, oil, and salt. They would give testimonials every Friday. And I figured what I had wasn't anywhere near as serious as they had. So I followed the diet, got rid of all the crap, specifically the sugar, the flour, the oil, and the salt. I wasn't drinking alcohol, so that wasn't a problem. That would have been something I would have gotten rid of had I been doing that. And 6 months after that, I went back to Kaiser, which was my doctor at the time, an HMO, and I had a repeat sigmoidoscopy. They wouldn't give me a colonoscopy because they said that I didn't have a first-degree relative that had colon cancer, even though my grandmother had died of colon cancer. It wasn't my mother or father, sister, or brother. And that's how these polyps were diagnosed, and there were several, by the way. They were riddled, my entire sigmoid colon was riddled with these precancerous bleeding polyps that, if not removed, always turn into cancer. But they couldn't remove them during the sigmoidoscopy because my colon was in such a state of disarray and ill health from basically just eating junk for the first 43 years of my life and not eating any foods that contain any fiber whatsoever. So I went back in 6 months, and they repeated the sigmoidoscopy, and it was actually the same gastroenterologist. And he kept poking me, and he said, "Where are they?" And I go, "Where are what?" He goes, "The polyps." And I go, "I don't know." Because he had pictures of them. They take photographs now. They know exactly the size, how many centimeters, where they are in your colon. And he said, "Well, they're gone." He goes, "Where did you have the surgery?" I go, "I didn't have surgery because I swear, this is really what keeps me vegan, other than my love of animals, is that I have the most pronounced fear of general anesthesia than any other human, because I almost died when I was a teenager because I was allergic to the anesthetic. And for a one-day operation, I was in the hospital for months not being able to breathe. So you probably know this, like, I'm writing how, like, when you take your dog to the vet, it's fine, but then when it has to go in that room, without you, how it goes, that's me with anesthesia. It's like, I went to a pedodontist till I was 35 years old. That's how afraid I am. I mean, I had to get knocked out to get my teeth cleaned. So I think that's what really keeps me, healthy, because I just don't want to have surgery. Anyway, so he said that my colon was clear, clean, pink, and vascular like a newborn baby. and he accused me of having surgery outside the HMO. And I said I didn't, because even if, I mean, I'm too cheap anyway, so I wouldn't have, like, really would I do that? So when he left the room, there was another doctor assisting him, who I think was from India because of her accent. And when he was out of earshot, she said, I believe you. And it was right then that I realized that this stuff was powerful. And I quit my job as an activity director at a retirement hotel, and I went to culinary school. So, I stayed on that diet for a couple of years. I'm still obese, by the way, because even though I wasn't eating sugar, flour, and oil and salt, I was eating a lot of these, and while they're more health promoting, they're still quite calorically dense. And then, in 2008, I saw a video with Dr. Caldwell B. Assistant Jr. in the Cleveland Clinic. He is the author of Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease and one of the stars of Forks Over Knives. And I saw this video, and in the video, he talked about why we shouldn't eat oil and sugar and salt from a standpoint of health and how it could help us become bulletproof against heart disease, disease which almost everybody in my family had died from, had they not already died from diabetes and cancer, because I come from a fat, sick family. And so, my genetics is what it is. And you know, genetics only loads the gun. It is your diet that pulls the trigger. It's your decisions that pull the trigger. So I thought, well, this makes a lot of sense. Why wouldn't I eat in a manner that guarantees that I won't die of these preventable diseases that my grandparents and parents died of? So I adopted a sugar-free, oil-free, salt-free diet. Well, it sounds like it's not going to taste pretty good, right? But I promise you, when you taste my food, it will, because as luck had it, I learned how to do that in culinary school, how to make food taste good without these things. But let's just talk about a minute why we like these things so much and why it's so hard for people not to eat them. You know, one of the reasons I wrote the book on processed is because I really believe that what Jack LaLanne said over 80 years ago stands today. These 13 words that if we all lived our life by, we would never be overweight and never, okay, I don't know what the red means, so how much more time do I have? So, should I stop? Just
That's fine.
Okay, wait, because the colors like flipping. I mean, usually like when I speak, like there's a number count and it's like, oh my God, it's red. So, yeah, what was I saying? Jacqueline, I love him. 13 words.
Say them slowly.
If God made it, eat it. If man made it, don't eat it. Those words really resonated with me because I realized from books like The End of Overeating by Dr. David Kessler, the former head of the FDA under Clinton, and Michael Moss, the investigative journalist, Pulitzer Prize-winning author of Salt, Sugar, and Fat, How the Food Giants Hooked Us, that all processed food was addictive. Whether it was Kraft macaroni and cheese in a blue and orange box or vegan macaroni and cheese, sugar, fat, and salt are addictive. And while processed food may be readily available, easily affordable, and socially acceptable, it's not food. Food is supposed to be from a plant, not manufactured in a plant. And this is, it really did change my life knowing these things. And I deal now in a program called the Ultimate Weight Loss Program that I'm the founder of, and I help people overcome their addictions to sugar, fat, and salt, and teach them how to eat in this way, which is actually really quite delicious once you're not eating so much sugar, fat, and salt. You know, when I became vegan in 1977, we didn't even have powdered soy milk yet, and now you have everything. You go into the 99-cent store anywhere in the world, and there's not just soy milk, but there's rice milk, and oat milk, and quinoa milk, and hazelnut milk, and flax milk, and coconut milk, and oat milk, and you name it. I mean, every kind of milk imaginable, and it's in a box. You know, you can make it yourself, it would be a little bit healthier, but I mean, it's never been easier to be vegan, and there's all kinds of vegan junk food, as delicious as it is, fake meats, fake cheeses, and sure, I'd rather have people eat that than eat animals, but what I want to say is you guys are animals too. And if you don't look and feel your best, you're not going to be around long enough to help the animals. And so while the animals really don't care why we're eating them, whether it's for our health, the environment, or the planet, I really encourage people that are junk food vegans to consider adopting not a whole food plant-based diet, but a whole food plant exclusive diet free of some of these chemicals like sugar, oil, salt, and flour, because you not only can be the healthiest version of yourself, the most slender version of yourself, but it's absolutely delicious. So I'm going to stop now, but if you want me to answer questions, I will. This is not quite ready, but hopefully it will be, and I've got the rest of the stuff right here.
okay if we?
You keep, is it okay if I stay here?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much. That was absolutely educational, fascinating, and entertaining. So we really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Helping us learn how to be healthy vegans. That's important. I'm just gonna see if any guests have feedback for us, and then we're gonna take a report from the functionaries, who are the all-counter, timer, and word of the day grammarian, and then we'll wrap up our meeting. So would any of the guests like to offer their words of feedback of what they thought of the meeting? Liam?
Thank you, Madam President. My name is Liam Whitney. I am a Toastmaster. I am a member of Lakewood Star Speakers and Long Beach Gavel Club. I just wanted to say this is a very informative and helpful meeting, and I thank you for organizing it. It was, I think, a really good club, and I do plan to return. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Oh, Amy, yes.
Just to reiterate, I'm really grateful to have found this group, and I definitely plan on joining. And thank you to Chef AJ. That was quite a delightful surprise.
Great.
Glad that she was there.
Thank you. Well, we're happy to have you as a member. Anyone else from this side of the room? Any thoughts? Share? Yes.
Hi, I'm Nadine. I just moved to California from New Jersey just a month ago. So I'm thrilled to be here and to have found this group of like-minded people. I came here because of Chef AJ from her meetup group, but I'm happy that I found the Toastmasters, and I'm looking forward to more meetings.
Great. Judith.
Well, I just want to thank you. Armaiti is, just as all of you know, is amazing. And thank you for putting these wonderful events together and having AJ like and hoping your success in these matters. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I'm thankful as well. It's always great to see AJ. And I don't know if the meeting room is set or not, but I thought it might be helpful to point out the acoustics here are pretty poor.
Right.
And, you know, hard to use about. Anyway, the room, the fire station is certainly better. And again,
It's hard to get like consistently. That's why we. But
I'm
we'll
sure
ask them
they're-
if we can close those windows. I think we have to do that now.
Okay.
But thank you for that feedback.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, now I'll call for the functionaries reports, unless anyone else wanted to add anything. So our timer was David Chan, and he's not in the back currently, but I guess we'll get a report from Skip, who is our off counter.
Hi, the odd counter. First, there was first person who spoke was David Cates, who was the Toastmaster, the table topic master, and I heard one there. I did not hear any in Taylor's speech or in Sarah's, Susanna's, Jeff, I heard an Sam, I heard 4 ums, or and you know. Alexis, I think I heard 6 ums. Christina, 5. Amy, 3. And the last person who spoke, this may sound sexist, so I apologize ahead of time, but I only know you as Sam's wife. I didn't get your name. I heard 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Skip. David Rutan.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow guests, we had everyone, the first 6 speakers qualified within time between 1 and 2.5 minutes. The 3 last ones, Alexis was 2:36, Christina 2:34, and Amy 2:52. So the cutoff was 2:30, so the guys were really, really close.
Thank you. Our grammarian, Chad Johnson.
You know, so the word of the day was used a number of times, detriment. I think 6 or 7 different people used it. I mean, Dave Cates used it once or twice. Alexis used it. Sarah used it a couple times. I think Taylor, I even missed a few people that used it. And then, of course, Chef AJ used it a few times. I mean, it was that was great. I didn't notice any particular particularly poor uses of grammar. So I think people were pretty good as far as their language goes, is what I saw.
Good.
So
Well, thank you.
thank you.
Oh, we're ready for. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a couple more minutes here, but we got these ready.
And then, okay, so if you're not going to explain anything about it, I'll just ask for the report about membership. Going to give a.
Oh yeah, and you know, there are of course a number of different rewards down the journey of Toastmasters, and if anybody wants any information, of course, as I said earlier, about vegan Toastmasters, I have these little booklets just have like information about the group and about Toastmasters in general, and there's a membership form in there, so you can feel free to come and pick up one of these for me if you're interested.
Was there a sign-in sheet there?
There was a guest
There's
book
a
in the
book.
back, so
Back in the book,
if you've
yeah.
not signed in the guest book, please do so. If you're a guest. And just so you know, we are planning to continue meeting at this location. However, the next would-be meeting, which would have been June 4th, we won't be having a meeting because that's National Animal Rights Day. But other than that, it'll be the first and third Sunday of the month from 3 to 4:30 that we meet in this room. Sarah?
I just wanted to mention that you just did mention National Animal Rights Day. So if anybody wants information about National Animal Rights Day, we do have these cards. We call them NARD cards on National Animal Rights Day. So if you guys could please pass this message around. It is one day a year, so we really would love for you to come out if you are already planning on coming. It's Sunday, June 4th. I'm going to speech from 12 to 4. It's going to be a commemoration, and then afterwards a celebration. So we'd really love you to come and join the free food, and but it's really, really, really important that we get as many people to come as possible, so that we can show them a speech that, you know, we're united and obviously peaceful people. We're not.
Where is it again?
In a speech, and we have cards back here in this table. So I really would like for everybody that doesn't know about NARD or hasn't heard about it, please take one today and then pass it on. It's not just for vegans, it's for anybody that cares about animals, wants to come out and hear great speakers, music, have great food. It's all free. It's going to be a wonderful event.
Thank you. Dari. Yes, let me invite Dari up. She's our area director.
Good afternoon. My name is Dari, like a Dairy Queen, as I like to say, Mackenzie, and I am the area director for Vegan Toastmasters. I call myself the mom to 6 different clubs in Los Angeles, and this is one of my offspring. It's a very warm and welcoming community, as you've experienced today. And I'd also like to give you a little information about Toastmasters in general. For those of you who are wondering, how do I become a better speaker by joining Toastmasters? There are 2 manuals that you are given when you become a member. There's a speaking manual and a leadership manual. The speaking manual has 10 speeches, so there's a blueprint, if you will, for you to follow in your speaking evolution that addresses both writing your speeches, the speech craft, and then incorporating various techniques in your public speaking. And the leadership manual covers being a volunteer. For example, like we had our functionaries today, they're doing roles right out of the leadership manual that you also get to learn how to be a more effective human being in my book. If speaking is the heart of Toastmasters, listening is the soul. So you also enhance those abilities whether you know it or not. A meeting is comprised of 3 sections where you will have the table topics that you experienced today. You'll have the prepared speeches where you'll have club speakers come up and speak to you for 5 to 7 minutes, generally on the health and well-being of the planet and your animal activism. This club's really fantastic. And then there's an evaluation section where as a speaker, you're given immediate feedback from an evaluator, which is another form of table topics, meaning speaking impromptu, thinking on your feet, impromptu, So you get immediate feedback on how well you did, where your talents are, and you get constructive feedback in service to your growth as a public speaker. So I invite you, first of all, thank you all for being here. I invite you to come back. You could not have chosen a more wonderful environment for speaking opportunities. I adore this club, and Armaiti's just, as you can see, a rock star. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you all in the near future.
Thank you, Deary. It's great to have your leadership and push us to be the best club that we can be. So we're really excited about everyone who has come to share this event with us today. And if you are interested in checking us out again, please do feel free to come as many times as you'd like as a guest. But consider joining, because you'll get a lot of benefits, increasing your confidence, improving your delivery skills, and just getting to see how other speakers are going to compete at contests. There's so many opportunities available. So please see Chad Johnson if you'd like to fill out a membership form. It's a very nominal fee, and it really will pay off. So with that, I'll turn it back over to our chef, AJ.
Well, we can eat. How did we do this?
Yeah.
We need a little bit of bowls for this.
We'll get the bowls from,
I don't know if they're going to serve themselves, or I can dip it up for them if they have a plate. And this is going to be ready in 1 minute, and then I'm going to just take this little immersion blender, about $30 at Costco, and I'm going to blend it in there. Add a little bit of lime juice, and make sure when you use an immersion blender, you keep it on the bottom. If you lift it up while you have the button on, it'll work. Sorry. I'll get the bowls, and then bowls. 1 minute. But even though this lady took 30 minutes with her hairs, Oh, great. Aha! So now it's ready. Watch this. You can give yourself a facial. You don't need to spend $125. People ask me why my skin's so good. I'm not really wearing makeup today. I'm not some lipstick. It's vegetables. No need to be afraid of a pressure cooker. So we've got 75 brownies, so if everybody could just take one and then come back for a second. There isn't no